Excuse me. Hello out there in YouTube land. If anybody can hear me, let me know. Alex, I see you chimed in the box. All right, perfect. Mo, how are you? Hello, everybody. Excellent. All right, I see people starting to pile in. I'm going to give everybody a moment, and we'll get to any and all of your questions, of course. What I'll ask is that you all bear with me at the beginning. I have kind of a starting tutorial that I like to do to give people some of the basic ins and outs of the software, and then we'll move more towards a Q&A. And I'll do this. I'll keep this open for a while as long as people are here and engaging and asking questions. Give me one moment still, please. I just want to make sure that I have all my settings right for the audio and that everybody's hearing me okay. All right. All right, perfect, perfect. So just bear with me another moment while I let some people get in here. I want to try to make sure I get as many people on the beginning tutorial that I like to do as possible. So just everybody settling in for a moment here, and we're really glad to have you all here. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you're all able to see just how powerful this software really is. I think a lot of misconceptions get with us about, is this only good for day trading or swing trading? This software can find whatever you like. The biggest part that I always tell people is you have to have a trading plan, of course, or so you have to have an idea of what you're looking for. There's no scan that just says, hey, do this. But you can design scans, by asking yourself questions. What am I looking for? What do I want to see in a chart? And we can certainly help with that on top of all the many, many scans we already have pre-made for you folks. All right, so we'll give it another few seconds here. 8:05 seems like a pretty solid start. I see there's about 11 here so far. So, all right, everybody, welcome to the test drive here. Rearrange some things on my screen here so that we can get going. What I have up here is my basic layout that I use every day. I'm a very simple user on my day trading. This is kind of my day trading layout that's here. Let me bring over some other windows here. In fact, you know what? Let's change this up a little bit. We're going to use a different layout. This is actually my new layout that I'm kind of using, just a slight twist in it. Give me a second while that loads. There we go. So the very first thing, and I will not forget your question, Mo, about the live audio. We will get to that momentarily. So one of the first things that I like to do with trade ideas here is show how and where everything lives. All right. This here we call our menu bar, where you'll see File, New, Tools, Windows, Help, and Account. And that's where you're going to see a lot of the features and functions that you're going to want to get to. We'll go over what's in these one by one in a moment here. All right. Some of this you might already be familiar with, some of it you might not. So bear with me while I go through these. So everything in Trade Ideas for the software itself lives either in this menu bar or in a right click of any window, whether it be a price alerts window, a single stock window, our stock races, our charts. I could pull up an alert window. Let me see. Let me find something here for an alert window. Let me pull up an alert window I created here and a right click on the alert window. And inside each one of these here, you'll see configure as an option that's on any scan or single stock window. That'll bring you a configure window. There are tabs across the top of each one of these, obviously all with different functions and reasonings. With charts here, you can right click and you'll find different items in here for turning on and off pre-market inside of the properties. We can show different indicators. We can take away our indicators. All right. We can change time frame. All right. Some of this stuff can be done right on the chart as well without a right click. So for example, if I wanted to change time frame, I could click up here and you can see that we have a multitude of time frames ranging from 1 minute all the way to a month. There are also our indicators. And again, we could go with right clicking and indicators here on the chart. We could click up here and get our indicators. We'd select an indicator, whatever we want. Some have some other informations we have to put in them. Some will come with a pre-default. So for example, Bollinger Bands is a 20 SMA with 2 standard deviations above and below it. So we have that loaded already for you like that. But you may want to add an EMA or an SMA, all right? Those will come with standard periods here, but you can customize those to whatever you like them to be. And of course, you can customize the colors here. Once you've created an indicator or once you've added an indicator to your chart, you can always re-edit it over here. So for example, if I wanted to change my EMA, I already have an 8 EMA and a red here. I could simply come here and I could change that to a 13 EMA. And click save, and now it's become a 13 EMA. So very simple stuff here. All right, for that, let's save that back and close. All right, I want to get into the channel bar a little, excuse me, the menu bar a little bit here. All right, file is where you're going to be able to load layouts from the cloud, which is a great feature that we have where we can share and pass scans back and forth with each other. Oftentimes a user will have a scan and think, you know, stock ABC should have alerted at this time, but it didn't. You know, what's going on here? You always come to us through our support, either our support chat or support email, and say, you know, look, I had this scan. I can't figure out why the stock didn't alert. And we'll ask you for a cloud link to that window, and we'll get behind the scenes and troubleshoot that for you. The layouts and windows can both be saved to the cloud and local. That's the difference between the two that are up here. Your local layout will always be where your default layout is saved. Your default layout will be the layout that you get upon startup. I believe right now, anybody that doesn't have or never taken a test drive before, has never had an account in the past, without changing their default layout, you folks will all start on what we call our explosive winners channel, okay? So if you were to lose that layout, if you saved over it by accident, there's no worries. It lives inside our channel bar, which we'll get to in a moment here. And the channel bar is just a different set of layouts. All a layout is a conglomerate of scans and charts for you. In the new, this is where we can start any new window that we want. So if we wanted to build an alert window from scratch, top list, a single stock window, compare counts, charts, so on and so forth. All right, you can see all these in here, and you have access to all the premium items that are down here with the test drive already. I just had someone that was in a chat. Our chat's normally closed at this time, but I had not logged out, I realized. So someone had come into the chat, and I just want to make sure that they are moving along in the direction that they need to. Tools inside here, we have some different functions that are in here. I want to start with options, all right? If we click on the options in here, there's some different items that we can go through between our connections, how layouts get saved or load. You need to change your time zone. We'll skip, don't worry about the social networks for now. We have the ability to let you know there's a new release of the software inside the upgrade. We generally always have a production version and a beta version. I always recommend people to be on the beta version. And if you'd like to know if a new beta version's out, you would come to Tools, Options, and the upgrade, select all releases. And anytime there is a new release, your new over here will turn a bold green here with an option to upgrade. Upgrading the software obviously is at no cost to anybody. It's just we're always adding new things. We have to keep up to date with operating systems. For now, I'm going to skip Brokerage Plus, and we'll come back to the AI trade size in a little bit. Windows here is a good way. If you have hidden windows, you can find them this way. Show all windows. You can minimize minimize all your windows. You can close them all. You can find a list of all the windows you have here. So very often people have a multitude of windows open that they didn't realize that could be slowing them down. They might have 40 or 50 alerts and 30 charts open without realizing it. Or well, can't be 30 charts because 20 is the max. But you maybe many windows of alert windows and top lists, and it could slow you down eventually. And this is a good way to figure out and troubleshoot if you do have so many of those windows open. Inside Help, you can find our user's guide. If you click on that, that'll bring you to our fully searchable user's guide. Now, what I tell people is that the user's guide literally has everything in it. There's a lot of repetition in our user's guide because many of the scans and functions of the software repeat over and over again inside different windows. Some of this you'll need some context with, and as you get that context, this will become more obvious and a better tool for you as you move forward, especially as I go through and I describe what a single stock window is, which is marked by an S here, or our alert windows, which is marked by an A in the top right corner. Our multi windows, an M window will have an M in the top right corner. Our top list, let me bring a top list over, we'll have a T in the top left corner, so on and so forth. The guide is also fully searchable. If we were to click table of contents, it'll bring us here, and we can click here and we can type for anything we wanted. So if we want to know more about charts, let's say we want to know more about Brokerage Plus. Right, Brokerage Plus would pop up. And for those that aren't familiar yet, Brokerage Plus is our interface where our live simulator lives, as well as a ability to connect to E-Trade live trading and Interactive Brokers live trading. So that's something very helpful there. We have a channel description here. We just made a few updates on the channel bar recently. So if something seems like it's not matching up there, and you have a question about it, just give us an email or a chat, and we'll cover for you what might have changed. We just hadn't had a chance to upgrade that yet or update the descriptions. But for the most part, they should all be correct in here. You have some different help videos, FAQs. Something may happen where we ask you to send a file to support. You can always check for updates here as well. And to know what version of the software you're on, if you click on About, that'll tell you what version of the software you're on. Last but not least, you have your login for here, your account name, and your time till expiration. And on occasion, the software can get a little hung up. Could be a hiccup in your internet, could be a hiccup in our servers, could be a hiccup from our consolidated data feeds. Resetting connection will give that a fix, sometimes doing it twice, and it'll jump you from one server to the next server. I'd like to now go quickly into the differences between the windows, and then I'm going to open up for a Q&A. So we're going to plow through this very quickly here. Charts. Hopefully you're all familiar with charts. You're familiar at least with some candlestick charting. You're familiar with some indicators. Again, charts are very straightforward. If you'd like to open a new chart window, that'll give you a new chart window. And from there, you can do whatever you like with that chart window. Your chart window will always load as what's called a default, all right? Everything loads as a default. So this is what I saved as my default chart window. It happened to be, when I saved it, this stock, a 5-minute chart with these indicators on there. So if you're like me and you like all your intraday charts to always open and have the same indicators, you can set up that chart just that way. And if you right click and go to Save as Default, every time you open a chart from now on, it'll open this way. The same will apply to your alert windows, topless windows. your single stock window, so on and so forth, okay? I'm not going to cover too much on the charts right now. I'm going to keep going towards the other windows. And of course, we'll circle around back for the questions as well in a moment here. Next, I want to cover alert windows. And again, when you open an alert window or any other scan, it's going to open a configure window first, starting from scratch. I set mine up to be a default like this, okay? And you can do the same as well. Most of you will probably have it open, and in the summary, the window name will be breaking out on volume. You can rename it to whatever you like in the summary. There may be some window-specific filters that are going to come already preloaded here. You can just delete those values, all right, unless you'd like to have the values in there, or if you want to just adjust those values, of course. Alert windows are twofold function here. There's an alert or an event. Those will always be indicated by these single icons. So an alert or an event, new high or a new low, new ask high, new low bid, okay? New high filtered. Now, someone might say, what are the difference between all these things? You can highlight it by clicking on it, pressing help, and that is going to bring you to our alert and filters definition page. And it'll bring you right to the one you clicked on, and it'll give you an answer here. So for example, our new high filters are a way to filter out stocks that are consistently making new highs nonstop, so you're not getting pounded with alerts over and over again for the same stock. It basically slows it down essentially, right? And that's all in the description that's right here, and that'll go on for any one of these alerts here. Now, some of these alerts, if you notice, will have something over on the side here. Some alerts have what we call a filter to them. So for example, the new high here is a new daily high unless I change it. So if I were to select new high and I were to click add, it'll bring me to the alert selected or selected alerts tab, where I would put a check mark in the new high if I wanted to use it. Now this alert filter over here, if I were to leave it blank, means a new high for the day. If I put 365 here, that means a 52-week high. Weekends are included. That is why. So always keep that in mind if you decide to use a new high for any specific period of time. But I could put 7 in here and get a new 7-day high, including the weekends. I could put a 15 here for, and so on and so forth. All the alert filters also have a description for them. Again, if we were to click on the help and we get our help page here, we can scroll down past the alert descriptions, and that will bring us to the alert specific filters right here. So here we have our alert specific filters, and you can match them up with the icons, and you can get what the filters function is in each one of these. And of course, you go through these in your own time. There's nobody that uses every alert. There's nobody that uses every filter, myself included. I know the software extremely well in and out. I still refer to this document here. There's a lot of information in this document, okay? Again, alert windows are a twofold function. So an event, new high, new low, check markup. If we were scanning in the pre-market, we wouldn't want a new high. We'd want pre-market highs or pre-market lows. If we're scanning in the post-market highs or post-market lows. There are some alerts that work in the pre-market and post-market. There are some alerts that only work in the regular hours as well. The second function of an alert window is this: filters. Filters will always be indicated by this teal and purple color here, indicating a minimum and maximum value. Filters are not only something that we can add a value to, but we can show them as a data column. So if I wanted to add any of these filters, just like the alert, I would click on it, add filter, and it would bring me to the window specific filter where I can give it a minimum or maximum value. You can give it both, of course. If I want to show this as a column, and if we look here, these are what are columns in all scans. So I can add any one of these filters as a data column, and I don't necessarily need to scan on it. I may not want to scan on relative volume, but any stock that alerts, I want to know what its relative volume is. So I would simply click on relative volume, click show column, and that would bring me to the columns tab. In the columns tab, you have a left and right side, which is going to be your left selected, and right general. The general will be filters that are being used inside the scan or items that aren't a filter but can be added to the scan. For example, your type is going to be your type of alert. So in the case of a new high, it would indicate a new high alert. Okay. If I wanted time, time is not a filter, but I can get time and I can see what time the alert happened to the second that it was time stamped. Symbol, I think, is obvious. Exchange, we can see the exchange that it was on. A description is going to be a description of the alert itself. I'm going to add these columns as a matter of fact, just to show you when I come out, because you're going to see that we have no type column. We have no exchange. We have no description. And then the quality is going to have to do with alert filters. So like I said before, remember, these are our alert filters here, and the quality will tell us what that is. There's several other here that are not related to filters, and we can see the ones that are related to filters indicated by the icon here, the ones not. Now, if I press OK, watch what's going to happen to the alert window when I open it. We now have all these items in here. So again, these are all things you can go through in your own time. That is the basis of an alert window. So at its core, we'll tell an alert window, find me certain stocks doing certain things. On this specific alert window here, what I've done in the summary I can see is I want to find stocks that are crossing above resistance. We have an algorithm that looks back and finds where price is gathering and considers that to be resistance. And when it crosses, we get the alert. And I want the stocks between X price and Z price. I want to see stocks with a certain spread on them. This is our spread filter, okay? I want to see stocks with a certain ADX. I want to see stocks with a certain RSI or a minimum of certain RSI. And if you're ever plugging in values into a filter and you're not quite understanding what the values might do, we have the show me function here in the middle with these magnifying glasses. So if I click that, it'll tell me, show me stocks where the RSI is at least 55. I can edit that on the fly, and now it'll become show me stocks where the RSI is between 55 and 65, or where the RSI is at least 55, but no more than 6. Or again, I take it away, and that'll edit right live for me on that scan. So that's the basics of an alert window. Now we'll head to the basics of a top list. We're going to open new top list, and we get another configure window. But what's going to be missing from this is there is no alert tab here, no selected alerts tab. We go from search to window specific filters. The way top lists work is we just give it a set of filters and we say, top list, why don't you just find me stocks that meet these filters? There will be no time-stamped alert, and the top list refresh every 30 seconds with all the stocks that meet the criteria. If something no longer meets the criteria, it is dropped from the scan. Now, when we scan for anything with the top list, we have to ask ourselves, how is something going to be ordered? And that's what we call our server sort. So we have the sort tab here, and any specific filters that you're already using in the scan or have recently used in scans will be options here. So I can tell a scan to find me all these kinds of stocks. Now, how do I order them? We can order them by the largest change from close at the top, or the largest change from close negative at the top. That's where we put smallest on top. If there's a sort that you want that isn't here, we would again come back to the search. We could sort by dollar volume, click on it, sort by, and that would give us that. Again, the rest of the tabs are all going to be the same. So you may want to scan pink sheets. You can go ahead and check that. You may not want to see NASDAQ stocks. You can go ahead and uncheck that. You may want to scan Toronto stock exchanges. You can go ahead and check those. Last but not least is our symbols list. This is a tab where we can decide I only want to scan for a watch list, or I want to exclude ETFs from my scan. We have many pre-made lists over here. You can add any and all these and select them. And then from the drop-down menu, you could say only these symbols follow, or exclude these lists. Or you could even scan for just one single symbol and see how it was doing with any of the filters and or columns. And so that covers the basics of top lists. Move on to our single stock window, indicated by the S right here. Now, what I can call the single stock window, I was a baseball card collector growing up. I still kind of collect them, but not like I used to. back of baseball cards or a football card or basketball card will have some statistics on it. That's what this is essentially. Any stock we click on, we're going to get statistics for this stock, all right? Everything that is a filter inside Trade Ideas can be put as a column here. There are obviously limitations for space, so be realistic about what you put on here. But we could see what I like to have on my single stock window. I like to know the float of a stock, see where it's been since January 1st. I like to know the days to cover, our short float, short growth data. I've got an earnings date up here. The stock is optionable. I want to know what its options volume is doing today. And this is a average of options volume done as a percent for a 10-day average. I also like to know market cap, debt, so on and so forth. These are all options for you folks as well here in the single stock window. Single stock window is where we have a news feed. It's a Google Scrape API that we have a deal with them. There is a leak on Google's API side, and they're dragging their feet. So there's times this is going blank on us. We are actively working on it. Google is dragging their feet. We keep pushing them. So just if you ever see the news window, it's not populating. It's not that we don't care. It's not that we're ignoring it. It's a battle between us and Google. It's a news feed that's very affordable, and that we don't have to pass the costs on to users with that. We are looking into some other options to move around. A second option for news, for those of you that like news, is a right click on a chart or even in the scan, and you can go to send to, see it here, send to, and you go to web, and you get a web page, and it should go by default to Yahoo, and you'd have news right there. Anybody that knows me knows I can't stand the news. I don't look at the news. I don't care why your stock is up. I don't care why it's down. What is your price and what is your volume are the only two things that I care about a stock. What's the trend? That's it. So, but I understand that there are people that want news. So that's what we currently have for options. I also, for people that are trying to look for kind of breaking news and trading on that, there are some filters that I will point you to eventually that will circle around to that I think can catch stocks even before most of the news wires are going to get it out, because the move is always going to happen before it hits the news wires. Always, always, always. Even if it's only 30 seconds before it hits the news wires. We have the ability to catch that with some of our filters, especially change in 1 minute when you can see a fast 1 minute spike, and then we can add volume to it and so on and so forth. But these are things we're going to come around to momentarily. But that more or less covers the single stock window. The last windows that I want to cover in here is our multi-strategy window. What a multi-strategy window is for those that have limited screen space and they're using multiple alert windows. You can take the alert windows and bunch them all up into a multi-strategy window so that it's in your individual alert windows are color coded and you can know which alert window is going off without having 5 or 6 alert windows all around your screens, jamming up much needed real estate for some of us. Some people like more screen space, some people like less. I can do everything I need on 1.5 of these screens, to be honest. When I was an early user, I needed almost 4 screens, but I've cut things down since then. Let's head back here. What am I missing so far? We've gone over alert windows, topless, multi, single. I'm going to skip the compare counts for now because I don't want to bore you all to death. I know you have questions. I want to get to those in a moment. We have our price alerts window. So that's going to be this one right here, indicated by the P, says price alerts up here. This is one of my most valuable windows. On any chart, I can right click and go create price alert. And I can set the price alert here. I can give it notes. I can say, am I going long or short on it? If the alert goes off, am I looking at it long? Am I looking at it short? I can say to the don't trigger in the after hours if I don't want to trigger in the after hours by a bad print or a late settlement. All right. And then I click save and see this blue line right here. Now, if I click on a price alert, we can see triggered. I'm going to open this up a little bit so you can see things better. So we can see the status is triggered or working. The side is long. Is it coming, the price coming from above or below? Here's our symbol. Here's a time that these triggered, current price. Again, everything in Trade Ideas being a right click. If we right click, we can come to columns. And there's all kinds of columns that I can add. Here's what's selected. Here are all the things that I can add to it if I wanted. When an alert is triggered, it'll be green. So you can see it's green here. I can just slide it sideways like that and it becomes blue. And we can see the LASE just reset and now it's working. Do the same thing with AVEO. Slide it like this. and now it's blue. I can also move the price alerts up and down wherever I want, just like that. Okay. So one of the things I get asked often is when I'm using my races for scanning, how do I use them for pullbacks? I say, well, I start setting price alerts on things that are interesting me in the races. And then I track the price alerts. And if the price is falling, I'll pull them down to see if I might like a pullback entry on it like that. So very simple, straightforward. What else do we need to cover? We've covered now all this. I don't think we need to cover the welcome screen. Channel bar. We have two channel bars, a free floating and a docked. Docked means everything is put together. So if we look here, this window is a docked window. Oops. Bear with me a moment. I resize, my mistake there. There we go. Docked window means that I can move all these windows together. I can have windows tabbed together. So we see I've got this race here and I got a chart that's behind it and I can toggle back and forth. I got a chart here and I have a single stock window behind it indicated with this arrow here. And so I could toggle back and forth behind those. Then there's free floating windows. My price alerts is free floating alone. This is free floating alone. Okay. The same concept goes with the channel bars. All right. So if I go channel bar, I have this free floating channel bar. Every one of these is a layout, essentially. We have all kinds of layouts, and I can click show more. And now look how many we have here. We have a short squeeze channel. We have a pre-market channel. If you're looking for swing ideas, they're in here. And like I said before, inside the menu bar, we've got all of these right here. Help, channel descriptions, we'll get you a description of all those. If I click on any one of these, for example, it's going to close my entire layout. And it's going to open this layout. So if I wanted to look at sector statuses, I can go ahead and click that. And we're going to load that up. Bear with me a moment. HTML5 taking a second to load for me. Let me try this again. Sorry. Bring this way. Just loaded on another screen for me, and I want it to load on this screen. Layouts, open relative to main window, save. Let's try that again. There we go. And now we've had this load here, and here's a layout that's going over different sectors with different top lists and looking at all these different individual items that are in here. We can go through and look at any one of these channels. Now, what most people will have happen as they go along is they'll say, gee, I like scan A from channel B, and I like this scan from that channel, and another scan from a different channel. How do I get them all together? You can't edit the channels themselves because they're held on our own servers, but you can essentially create your own channel and own layout. We went over before about saving to the cloud. I can right click. I can save anything to the cloud that I want. So for example, I might say, gee, I really want to look at the momentum channel. And in the momentum channel, I really like this Extreme Master Blaster, but I want it to be part of a different layout that I've got going on. I could right click it, save or share to cloud, save. And now if I go to file, load from cloud, there's Extreme Master Blaster in my cloud right there. And then I could say, you know, the short squeeze channel, I like. Hedge funds don't think I'll catch them. I know it's a scan that's going to be in here. Or hedge funds could be in panic mode. Sorry, that's what it is. And I say, gee, I like this. Let me right click and save or share that to the cloud. And I save that. And then I say, you know, I want to look at some unusual options here. And the same thing, I can load the unusual options channel. And I can say, gee, I really like this somebody knows something scan here. And again, I save that. Now I can go through and I can get rid of all these. And I could go file, load from cloud. There's somebody knows something. File, load from cloud. Hedge funds might be in panic mode. File, load from cloud. Now these all populated on another screen, but I'm bringing them over. Here they are. Now they're loaded like this. And now I could save them by altogether if I wanted as a layout, File, Save or Share to Cloud, click Entire Layout. I give it a name here, and I would save it just like that. One layout can be loaded at a time, so keep that in mind when you're switching back and forth between layouts and channels. There's also our dock channel bar, and everything would live inside the dock window like this instead and be docked neat like this. Some people like that, some people don't. I think that will about cover our channel bars for now. And let's see, last but not least, and my most favorite thing on the planet, well, it won't be last, but this is my most favorite thing on the planet, our real-time stock races. The real-time stock races give us a chance to have something that's like a top list, but with a very narrow set of data and what is moving live as it's happening right now. At its core is a top list. So if I go new and I go top list, I can tell the top list, find me the stocks that I want based on these filters. Then I say, sort them how I want. Once I've done that, I can race them. I'm going to bring up my traditional layout and show you how I do this. And I don't brag very much, but I do believe that my race is the strongest and best of all the races. Bear with me one moment while I reorganize my screen. Where is my... And I know you have the questions. Let me go through this last one. Then the other things I want to cover afterwards, I will cover after I get to your questions. Let me cover this, then we get to questions. So right now we're in a bear market. Swing trading is extremely difficult. I, by nature, am a swing trader. However, I have not been swing trading for many, many months. I pivoted back to day trading. And the race, I was not a good day trader. Let me be clear about that. I was at best very mediocre day trader. Much better at swing trading. These races have completely changed my day trading. Completely changed them. At the core of these races is a top list. So if I open this top list, this is what I've created here. Oh, these stupid bots. Okay. At the core of this race is a top list. In this top list, I told it in the configure, I said, I want you to find me stocks between $2 and $30 that traded at least 200,000 shares on the day. And they're 80% above the lower Bollinger Band. I don't scan on Bollinger Bands, but Bollinger Bands can be used to find momentum. That's how I would use them, and that's how John Bollinger, who created, uses them. Many other people like them as a revision to the mean. With that said, I use them for finding momentum in my scanning. I do not have Bollinger Bands on my charts. I never use them on my charts. And then I put a filter here just to make sure the stock is trading a few shares every now and again, that it's not just big block trades that are coming through. Once it finds me those stocks, I say sort those stocks, change from the open. The reason why I want to see the biggest change from the open is what happens if something has a really big gap down from yesterday, but now it's reversing big. Well, I wouldn't see it if I was looking for gappers up, right? I'd miss it. But some of our biggest moves can be gap downs that reverse. So I want to see the stocks that are strongest from the open, and that's why I call it relative strength from the open. And that's why I sort there. Now, once it's found all those stocks for me, I want to race them. And so in my race setup, I've told this, I want to run 3-minute races because I like 15-minute charts. That means 5 races per 15-minute bar. And I want to race them on a change from open delta value. So basically, once the 10 race lanes, which is our top 10 stocks it's going to be, have been populated in the race, they all start even now. And whichever one is moving the most from the open is the one that's going to lead it. In this, I have the ability to show a replay mode, and so do you as well. So here is our regular play and stop button. Play and stop. So we're stopped right now. Here is our replay mode. And if I click replay mode, I can now watch in 6.5 minutes what this scan did for the entire day. So here it goes populating, and I can replay all this. And so I could see what was happening and what was moving today. So LASE we saw was a big mover early in the day. And we could see that had a big gap up, made a move here on the open, right? But it gave it up. And did you see how it just dropped off the list? Because it started to give it up during the day. And it came on and off, and ATXI had a big move during the day, right? And there was that big move, and I was catching this big move. This is a stock that I traded today. And I caught a little piece of that move right there. And that is why this is so powerful, because you can have all these scans and buzzers and bells going off, but what do I do with any of it? How do I know what's moving? This tells me what's moving right now live. And it is an absolutely unbelievable game changer in data. This is what I exclusively trade with right now. At some point, we'll do a bottoming process in the market. I'm going to look to put some long-term swing trades to work. I have other ways to scan for those. If you stick around long enough, if you come to my support, I do support session every single Monday through Friday at 3:30 Eastern for an hour. I go over how I scan in the market and over all those things. So if you stick around long enough, you'll see all these things. You can grow with us as a community. We'll never tell you what to buy, sell, hold, or do, but there's certainly a lot to learn here. I'm a completely self-taught trader. Everything I know about trading, essentially I learned here at Trade Ideas, or got my start here at Trade Ideas long before I worked for Trade Ideas. So with that, I'm going to start to open it up as questions. I know there are a few here. I'm going to start with Mo, who had asked at the beginning here. What about live audio scanner and setting it up? So Mo, a couple of options here. Audio only works with our alert windows. So when an alert goes off, you can have it timestamped and call out that stock. Let me open an alert window and bring this over so you can see what I'm doing here. File, I'm going to load an alert window from cloud. So in real time, every time an alert goes off in this, we can get a voice alert or a sound alert. To do that, we would right click, properties, actions, check play sound, come to sound setup. These will all sound the same, but you also have text to speech here, and we can test it, and you can hear that. The speech is passed through Windows. So if you have a file and you want to use a custom sound file, you can do that as well. And you can find those in here as well. All right. So those are all options for you. So I just used the applause right there. All right. You can also do sound alerts with the price alerts window. So I have that set up for the voice. It's the only sound that I use. But if you listen, watch, I'm going to make AEO trigger. AVEO, I'm sorry. Or not. AVEO. There we go. And so you can hear that trigger like that. AVEO. The last place you can get the alerts is if you use Holly. Holly will call those out. And again, everything, right click, actions, play sound, right? The same thing for Holly, right click, actions, play sound, setup sound, and you make the selections in here. So that's how you get to that, Mo. How do I get the top bar with all the options? So if you're missing that bar, come down to here, M, on your item down here, click on that, and you will find it right here. So this is it right there, Trade Ideas Pro. If you go over any of these, you'll see what it is right here. All right. It'll bring you to that specific window. And as I go through these questions and catch up here, if I miss something, I didn't explain it well enough, you need a better explanation, you need me to go over it again, just let me know. I'll circle right back to it. I never ignore anybody, but sometimes I know I might not have explained it clear enough for you, so just let me know. Will this presentation be available later for viewing? There's no way I can remember all it's covered. Yes, it'll be on our YouTube channel. Eventually, it will post on our YouTube channel. Let me get you a link for that here. You can find that. Give me 1 second. So here's our YouTube channel. All right. I'm going to drop that link, copy, paste. All right. and you're going to want to find it under videos right here. Everything we do is going to be under videos here. All right. There's lots of stuff in here for you to go over if you want. It'll be right there. It'll take a little bit for it to load up. I'm also doing this. For those of you that don't know, I'll be doing this tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And I'm going to do this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock Eastern time. All right. Excellent. That's a big help. My SPY chart only shows up to October 7th. Alex, see if you can scroll back and forth on the chart. Click on it and scroll back and forth. You might have to hold control for zooming in and out. Control and scrolling with your mouse wheel will zoom in and out. Just scrolling without control will go back and forth in time. Let me know if that gets you squared away, Alex. If not, I might need you to give me an email so I can check some things on the back end. I'm going for EM Shaq. I'm going with M is what I'm going to call you. M, learning to be a better trader. Hang around here. Come to our live traders room with Barry. I learned so much. Barry will tell you, I don't teach you how to trade, but if you stick around, you pay attention to what he's doing, you listen to the other traders that have been in there for a long time, you can't help but to learn. There's no way you can help but to learn. So, and I go over things all the time. What I saw, why I saw it. I talk about trading plans a lot. And, what I tell people is you can have the greatest scanner in the world that alerts you to great moves in stocks all the time. But if you don't have a plan to get in and you don't have a plan to get out, if you let every winner turn into a loser because you don't have a plan on how to manage it, the scanner will mean absolutely nothing. While we don't necessarily teach trading, we teach trading without teaching trading. So can you use to trade futures? No, Ralph, sorry, only US and Canadian stocks. What brokerage works best with the platform? Bill, I'm going to go with the edge to IB on that, only because IB is a better short book than E-Trade does. But with IB, you got to pay them a few dollars a month in data fees. E-Trade, you don't, and IB charges a commission still. E-Trade doesn't, but you get what you pay for. So you have a terrible, terrible short book with E-Trade. You have a not so terrible short book with IB. If shorting stocks, if you don't care about shorting stocks at all, then I'm going to say go with E-Trade. If shorting stocks means nothing to you, I would say that. Other than that, I think they're pretty comparable. The only other thing about E-Trade that can be a bummer is their API data can be delayed in like the first 2 or 3 minutes because their API is overwhelmed. There's nothing we can do about that. They don't care about their API. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. It's just the way it is. IB, while they don't necessarily care about us or anybody else, they constantly update their API. So their API is very smooth in general. It's not to say that there isn't ever a hiccup there. It's software and programming and, bugs do happen, but it's rare from IB, really, really, really rare. And I've been using it for a long time. So what I consider a long time anyways. Is there a replay? I'm guessing, Cheryl, you're asking a replay about this. And I kind of covered that already, but if not, let me know and I'll circle back to that again, just repost and be more specific what the replay that you're looking for is. Eddie, will TI work out of the box or does everything need to be customized? Nope, it'll work right out of the box. When you load up, you're going to go right to the explosive winners channel is what you should go to. Now, I know some of you might load up and it might look like just like this bar right here. Just grab the corner, pull it open. You might only see this as well. You should be seeing the explosive winners channel. All right. But if you don't, in the event you see something weird like this, I just, resize this to something quote unquote reasonable for you. Come to new, come to channel bar or dock channel bar, and you could load one of those pre-made scanners and get right to work on any one of those scanners and going through things. Alex, I tried. All right. So Alex, if you can take a screenshot and send it to support@trade-ideas.com. Send me an email there with a screenshot of what you're seeing, and I'll see what we can do about troubleshooting back and forth here. Can you use on a Mac or just Microsoft? So we have a web app for the Mac. It has a different feel to it, but all the same data, but it is missing a few items. There's no races on the web. They will be there soon, all right, but they're not there. It's one of the top priorities that we're working on is catching the web app up to the downloaded Windows app, and you don't have the simulator as well. Unfortunately, is not there as well. Excuse me, I just need a sip of water here. All right. Also, Cheryl, if you have a there's what's called their Market Explorer is not on the Mac as well, but I haven't gone over the Market Explorer. The software is so vast. I could do this with you folks for probably 5 hours and still not cover everything. But if you have access to a virtual Windows machine, Parallels, Amazon Workstation or Space or whatever you want to call it, or Windows 365 or Boot Camp, you could use the downloadable Windows app there. I've done it. I had a MacBook. I was using it for a while. Worked great. So Parallels is just going to be that one fee essentially, where the others are subscription based. Some people that I know have access to different virtual workspaces because of their job. So if that's an option as well for you. No performance issues, Eddie. So I guess I'm kind of covering two with one shot there. Sorry, I'm working backwards a little bit here now. So yeah, Eddie, you're good with either one of those, with any one of those virtual machines I just described. Parallels is great. Michael Noss that I work with, he uses Parallels. He's been using it forever. He's got the most up to date stuff and everything, and he's never an issue for him. If you're trading directly from Trade Ideas, which has faster executions, E-Trade or Interactive Brokers? Same execution time, Christine. It's going to be the same thing. They're sending to the same market makers anyways, I'm sure. So, probably different clearing houses, same market makers. So it's not going to make a difference. You should be good one way or the other. I've heard people complain about Interactive Brokers, and I've heard people complain about E-Trade. So I feel like they're complained about equally, which means that they're both doing what they do. I don't think you have an edge one way or the other. Cobra integrate? No, there's no Cobra integration, not directly anyways. You might be able to externally link to Cobra, meaning that if you click on a symbol in Trade Ideas, it'll send it over to Cobra, but you still have to do the execution and share size over there. I can go into external linking if you folks want me to. Let me know. I'll have to load up a broker is all. I don't have any of my brokers open right now, but I use mostly use Thinkorswim. I do have an Interactive Brokers, a small Interactive Brokers account that I've kept open though. Okay, think I'm catching up here. Eddie, I've been using AWS Trade Ideas on my Mac. Oh, Christine says that. All right, perfect. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Eddie. All right. Okay, so that kind of catches up on the questions here. I think if I didn't get someone's question or something I said didn't make sense or anything like that, let me know. Alex, let me know when you have sent that. It looks like Ryan, who came into our chat before, is now in the test drive, I believe, according to his email. Yes, Tom, this video will be on our YouTube channel. Again, you can find our YouTube channel. Let me get that for you here. So here's our YouTube channel. I'll share that link, copy, paste. All right, there's our YouTube channel. That video will eventually be here under videos after YouTube is done doing their rendering and everything like that. And since it'll be the last video, this is where it will live. I don't know if it'll be 15 minutes after we break away from here, or it'll be an hour from now or something like that. And again, for those of you here, I will be here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. If it's not a fresh crowd, if it's mostly you folks, again, you same folks, we'll do it just strictly kind of Q&A. If it's a mix, we'll do a mix of Q&A and what I'm doing here. If it's all new folks, then it'll be irrelevant to you, and you'll be off having your Saturday and doing whatever you like to do on Saturdays. So here's SUPPORT at trade-ideas.com. Send the email there, Alex. Eddie, so what would you recommend for training to get started? When you say training to get started, are you looking for software itself? Because that's what I'm here for right now. Or are you looking for kind of trader stuff? Either way, I'm going to send you to the same place, and that's going to be our education page. So if we come to the home page, so here's our home page. I guess I'll dock that up here for right now. Bunch of tabs on the home page. So trade-ideas.com, copy, paste. So if you're on trade-ideas.com, come to our education tab. In here, if you were to click join the live class, that's what we have right now. Monday through Friday, the broadcast or the stream we're on now, a gentleman named Barry runs it. He runs it from two spots. We have a trader's room, which is a more kind of inclusive room, and he also streams it here on YouTube. At noon Eastern every day, Barry gives up the stream for an hour on the YouTube side for a Q&A. At 3 o'clock Eastern every day, Barry just goes kind of mute for the day, and he waits for me to come and take over YouTube at 3:30. He shuts down the main room, and I do a Q&A every day at 3:30. So for those of you that are looking for both software and trading education, join me at 3:30 every day. It's also, going to be the whole broadcast of the day is one long broadcast. It's always there. So you can always fast forward to the last hour for that. So you can see here on our traders room today, 7 hours and 28 minutes. Yesterday was 7 hours and 31 minutes. I will always start at about 3:25 Eastern every day, give or take a few minutes. So you can get to any of those here, all right, to see replays of anything that I was talking about. I talk a lot of trading on my Q&As because people don't ask me many software questions. So I go over my scans. I do a lot of going over my top 10 winners in my races. I go over price alerts I set, why I set them, what I traded, why I traded it, price alerts that I set that I didn't trade, why I didn't trade it, these things like that. And, hopefully you'll be able to glean something from there. All right, perfect, Alex. I'm going to swing around to that in a moment. So that's one thing in our education channel. Then we went over before, but again, here's our user's guide. We scroll down, each divided into these sections. And then we have a full table of contents that is searchable right here in the user's guide. There are videos on all kinds of things. All right. Type what you're looking for. All right. You can also scroll, obviously, through the index over here. And you'll more likely than not, excuse my yawn, find what you're looking for. Okay. Next on the education hit list, our Getting Started series. This series is really fantastic and really short. It's 30 minutes long. Okay. Some of it, most of you probably aren't going to need to watch anyways. Most of you, I think, are past the download install. Most of you, I think, are past the first startup and login. All this here, though, I think is super important. It's going to be refresh what I did with videos that point and highlight. It's really 10 episodes that average about 3 minutes each. I wish this stuff existed when I first subscribed to Trade Ideas. None of this existed. You guys have a leg up on just about everybody. Plus, when I was subscribing to Trade Ideas, test drive was only 1 week, not 2+ weeks. Anyways, with that said, just a little jealousy. No, I'm kidding. Join the live class. Clicking that will bring you down to here. This, if we clicked on this, would bring us to where we are. As I mentioned before, the traders room and this are the same broadcast, except at noon Eastern, which we talk about here. All right. The YouTube becomes me on Mondays at noon Eastern, and then you get a different trader every other day. And at 3:30, it's just me every single day. In the traders room, there's a lot more trader discussion going on in there. There is no nonsense in our traders room. There's no talking about politics. There's no talking about, what your kids' grades are in school. There's, no talking about whatever. We do have an off-topic channel, but even that, we try to keep it, more finance focused in there. And the other part of no nonsense is there's no pumping stocks. ABC's going to the moon. Everybody buy this. We're doing this. Barry does not recommend anything. He talks about things that he's getting into live or just gotten into where he might set a stop and things like that. He tells people, trade your own stuff. Don't, just follow my stuff. That's how Barry rolls. Okay. There's a lot of people sharing really good ideas in there. Barry shares all of his scans as well. In fact, if anybody wants any of Barry's stuff, if you're not familiar with him already, he has his own homepage. Let me share it with you here. And if you look on Barry's homepage, you're going to find his scans right here. Okay. Barry does a video. You can get his video. I love Barry's videos because he goes over what he saw on a chart, why he saw it, how he saw it. So that's all like trader education right there. The next part, we have bi-weekly webinars that will start again when the test drive ends. Right now, because our support's focused on the test drive, we're not doing the bi-weekly webinars. But what I mean by bi-weekly is it's Monday, Wednesday 1 week, the next week's Tuesday, Thursday. These webinars are where I learn a huge portion of my trading and the software itself. So I highly recommend getting involved in those. They're 2 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Eastern. There's another whole set of educational videos that you can find here that are trading related and software related. And then probably the most important part, I think, for anybody that's just really new to trading in general, our Back to Basics series. Michael Noss, who's a certified CMT. I'm getting certified as a CMT. All right. He goes through and literally starts with what is a stock. Then he goes into charts and candlesticks and support and resistance and trends, fundamentals. He goes all the way up to artificial intelligence. It's 36 parts. It is an unbelievable series. I really highly recommend, if you're really serious about trading, you're serious about taking a hold of your financial future, even if you're a fairly advanced person, I'd recommend at least giving a shot at watching them. As something's obviously well below your experience level, skip on to the next, but you never know what kind of tidbits you might find. Michael Noss is a quantitative trader, and he is absolutely outstanding. Everybody that I work with is outstanding in their own right. Michael is no different. Some more trader education. We've got a whole bunch of different ebooks. You can come into here. And I really think that takes us through all that kind of stuff there. So we've got a good amount of resources. And like I said, a lot of it is live. S&P chart issues are just on test drive. He suggested send this. All right. Oh, that's why. Okay, so you're not looking at a SPY chart. You're looking at S&P chart. Okay, so this is what happened. Alex, are you still with me here? Hopefully you're still with me. The CME or COB, whatever it is, they cut that data off on us. They want like $10,000 a month just for that chart. And so we said no. So you have to use a SPY, all right? So that's this right here. So this tracks the S&P 500. So you can use this for now. That's our option, unfortunately. They armed us. So yeah, that's the day that data ended. Sorry about that. Now, if nobody has any questions, I want to go into a few other things here. No worry, Jorge. I kind of went over a basic tutorial. I know you've been inside the 3:30 sessions with me a lot recently. And then there's going to be a replay of this as well that you can find on the YouTube channel here. So, here's where you'll find that later, that replay, if you want to go over anything. There we go. So for those that want that there, let me minimize this, I guess. All right. So now something I did not go over before. Now, as I mentioned, this software is insanely vast. When we look at an alert window, there's about 500 different items that we could put into an alert window. Obviously, you do not want to put 500 items in an alert window. It won't work. It'll get jammed up. It'll be like trying to put a bowling ball through a garden hose for data. With that said, though, there's an infinite amount of combinations of scans that have created, because you think about it, every single one of these filters that you could put into, you can add a value. And so if I were to use a 60-minute range, I could put 1, and I could put 2, and I could put 1.1, and all the way up, and so on and so forth. I could put 1,000. Now, obviously, some of them will be ridiculous values and would never return anything. My point being is that with minimum and maximum values that can be put in, and all kinds of decimal points and things like that we could use, there's no limit to the amount of scans that can be done. So that is one area that the software becomes extremely, extremely vast. Something I have not covered yet for you folks, and that I think is very important, is what we call our Market Explorer technology. If you go to New and you go to Market Explorer, you'll get this here. This is a different tech than our legacy tech, and it allows us to be able to do things that our legacy tech cannot do. In the Market Explorer, we have a guide that if I were to click on that, it would give me this. It would bring me to the User's Guide Market Explorer section. And in it, Michael Noss, who is kind of the architect behind the Market Explorer, has videos on nearly every scan that's in here. And there's a lot of scans that are in here, all right? And you can go through all this at your leisure, of course, and see what these different items are. Everything in Trade Ideas is always right-click. So if I right-click here, I can go to Select Strategy. We have all of these different pre-made scans in here. Candlestick patterns, there's some Bollinger Band things, MACD, different moving averages, money flow index, recently IPO'd, close to the IPO price. If you folks are familiar with Rob Smith and the Strat crew, we have a bunch of their scans now that we've created, and support and resistance, different scans for support and resistance. We're always adding to this. So always be on the lookout for new scans that are coming in here. And this allows us to do things that the regular software cannot do. Excuse me again, a little tired. 5 in the morning was an early start today. Now, everybody likes to scan on different time frames. Everybody's looking for different things. Some people may not even know what they're looking for. Alex, I'm glad you found it useful. I'm glad you found it helpful. I hope you can pop in. If you can't pop in tomorrow morning, maybe you can pop in Sunday, but hopefully you can pop in during the week. Like I said, we're going to be live all week long. Probably Barry will have things jumping off about 9 o'clock in Eastern each morning, and we'll run to 4:30 every day as well. So hopefully I'll catch you on the live streams again like that. And thanks again. I really appreciate you coming in. I know people are taking a lot, time out of their personal evening hours, and really want to respect that. And I appreciate you folks for doing that here. And I think, those of you that really put the effort in and really put the work in, you're going to see the benefits of this. It doesn't happen overnight. Trading is not an overnight endeavor, but, start to give yourself several weeks and a few months. You'll be surprised at how quickly you'll learn. Then it's, taking the lumps like everybody else does with the market. But those that really put the work in, create trading plans, scan based on those trading plans, you'll be the ones that are really successful. I covered a bit here on just the basics and things like that, but what I want to do now is file and load from cloud, and I want to show you some of what I do for my scanning, how I prepare myself for when I'm looking for swing trades. So I've created a scan that I call my evening scan. Number 1, updated 2, because I've updated it. I'm going to share it with you folks. I'm going to right click, copy. I'm going to drop this in the chat. I'm going to paste that there. All right. If you take that link, all right, and you click on it, you should get a URL page. Let me copy. Bear with me a moment here. So I want to show you how this is going to go. So I bring over this here. Bring over this web page here. And if I click this here, and it's not letting me click it. Why are you not letting me click this? Oh, control click. So here we go. If I click this link, I'm going to get a web page that looks like this. And if I copy this up here, copy, and I go to File, Load from Cloud, it should preload here. In the event it doesn't, paste it and click Load. Now you folks can load this scan with me here. Now, because we had a down day in the market and this is looking for stocks that were up, there's not a lot on here. But I use this to go through and find strong charts, or what I believe are strong charts. And what I did was I created a scan that I said, scan, find me stocks that are between $4 and $40. They traded at least 750,000 shares on the day. They had a relative volume of 1. They're 75% above the low of a 20-day range, and they're 75% above the low of today's range. So the idea is to find stocks that are above the 20-day range by a little bit, and then they close strong today. So we're trying to find stocks on an uptrend that have done a little volume, and we want to make sure that little bit of volume is at least normal. Our relative volume filter is a ratio that is approximately a 30-day average. If a stock doesn't trade hardly at all ever, it has an algorithm that'll help it look back further than 30 days. But you can more or less ballpark a 30-day average. So 1 means normal, 2 means 2 times, and 3 times, and so on and so forth. So if I put 0.5 there, that means we're looking for stocks that were doing at least half of what they normally do. And that's what the relative volume filter does. So I use this scan to try to find stocks that are an uptrend. And I do my charting, and I put them on watch lists, and so on and so forth. What I want to illustrate here is the fact that if we come to our configure, everything isn't just based around day trading. We have long-term ranges here on stocks, right? We have different VWAPs going back several days. We have change filters going back a month. 20 days is essentially a trading month, more or less. We can see a change since January 1st, right? We can see position and ranges all the way up to a lifetime. We have 5, 10, 20 days, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year. So there's a lot that we can do with this software to look for stocks in different types of trends, different types of ranges. We have different SMAs on different time frames, including daily time frames. There's a lot here. There's a lot to go over the next couple of weeks. We have a lot of live education, including today, tomorrow, Sunday, and we roll right into Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So don't get discouraged. Don't get hung up. That email that I gave Alex before is an email you can get to us all the time. There's nobody to answer you at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, but by about 5 o'clock in the morning or so, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning anyways, myself and another coworker, Stephanie, we're usually there by around that time. She's there a little bit before me, and we're answering emails by then. We answer emails into the evening as well. So that's addressed again at support@trade-ideas.com. So there, I've shared it out again with you folks there. If you're having any hangups with the software, give us an email, right? If you're trying to find a scan and you can't figure out how to set something up, we can help you with the template, all right? Don't get discouraged. There's a lot of stuff I haven't covered yet. Let me know if you folks have questions on it. I can go a little bit further details on some of these other items by looking at the user's guide if you like. I don't want to keep anybody if you are on your way to wherever in life at the moment. But I haven't covered so far. I have not covered any back testing. I didn't even touch on Holly yet. I haven't gone over docking, but all these things are in the user's guide as well with videos. So, on your own time throughout the weekend as well, you can come to the user's guide. There's a whole section about Holly in here, right? An entire section for Holly. Videos that go over all this. Who is Holly? What does she do? All these different items in here. Oh, perfect, Christine. Appreciate that. Yeah, missing that first week. I know how that feels. When I was first becoming a test drive or a Trade Idea subscriber, it was only a week-long test drive, and I was working full-time at a restaurant still, and I was only able to take 3 of the 5 days for the test drive, but I knew I had to do something because I didn't want to work in a restaurant for the rest of my life, and well, here we are. I lucked out a little bit, but thank you. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the positive feedback big time, and I know Barry does too. He's very grateful for it, so that's very kind to hear that. So let's dive a little bit into Holly. As long as it seems like there still seems like there's a few viewers in here, so I'll dive a little bit into Holly. Do you use your software together with something else like TradingView? You mentioned that you have Mac. No, I don't use MACD or anything like that. I was just talking about MACD as we have a scan. We have different scans for MACD. I only use Trade Ideas as far as scanning goes and charting goes. Although I am starting to look at linear regression channels and using Thinkorswim for linear regression channels on charts. That's only because we don't have linear regression channels. I'm a very simplistic person in my trading. If you look at my daily chart here, I have what we call a multi-period low of 20. So since a daily chart, it's a 20-day low essentially. And that's my only indicator besides obviously volume there and RSI here. But I don't like indicators in this part of my chart. I like clean charts. I just need volume and price. I don't care about the rest. On my intraday charts, I use a 20 SMA and an 8 EMA. I use them for momentum indicators. But remember, every single indicator lags price and volume. Every indicator lags price and volume. And remember, every indicator is made up of price and volume. Every single indicator is made up of price and volume. I like to keep things very simple. Very simple. Too much noise interferes with what I'm trying to do. Years ago, I had a 200 SMA and a 50 SMA and a 20 SMA and a 10 SMA. And I had a VWAP on there. And I mean, my charts, like you couldn't see anything on my charts. There's lines everywhere. There's plenty of people that trade like that. They do very well. It didn't work for me. The more lines I threw on there, probably the worse I traded. Started taking things off and I trade much better. I like support and resistance. I like to just draw lines. Nothing magic about them. I tell people if you're trying to understand support and resistance, just draw a line, right? So we've got drawing tools up here. You can click on this up here, horizontal line, trend line. You can put annotate some text. You can put some arrows. This is anchored VWAP. If you don't know what anchored VWAP is, just do a web search and pretty clear. So if you're unsure about things, just draw a line. Well, let's draw a line to the high of today's price. Does it line up with anything else? Well, what do you know? Look at this. Without even knowing it would happen, look at how it defended price here, that line, and it defended it here, and it defended it here. And then it finally, after defending it here, broke through here, and it couldn't get back up anymore. So this was support all through here, and it became resistance here. And when it came up, it didn't quite touch it, but I'll bet there was an influence of that line when we couldn't break there. And here we are back at this line again. That's technical analysis right there. That's what I like, support and resistance. And I love it when resistance becomes support and bounces off of it. That's the kind of stuff that I like, especially in my swing trading. You can go back and do this with chart after chart. Let's see what else we can find here. Whenever you're having trouble, just find a line, just stick a line somewhere. There's technical analysis is completely subjective. There is no right or wrong. And again, we look. Had this big fall apart, can't get above this line, got above it, testing it, back below it, back above it, towing the line, can't get back above it. And we can see that this line is the magnet for price right now. We know we're in a big trading range. This is the kind of stuff that I like right here. This is the big time stuff for me in charting. People ask why I like the multi-period low. The SPY, I think, is a great indicator why I like this. We scroll back in time. I want to show you something with this here. We had this beautiful trend off the COVID lows, right? So here's our COVID lows. Look at these stairs, like stairs moving up. Now they give me very defined levels to the downside of risk. So if I had been swing trading on the SPY, and if I decided that, we're in this range right here, and I want to trade it based on this range, break of here is where I might want to get in. I could start with a stop down here. That's a very clear level, because if we broke this, where's the next level I'm coming to, right? Because this comes right to here. Well, the next level's down here, and then I have a level down here. Now, do I have to use every one of them as a stop? No, but it gives me very clear lines where price had significant action at, right? And then as we move forward, we can see we continue to take stairs up, and I could always move and create my own trailing stop with that. This is the kind of stuff that, this is my own flavor of things that I've added over time. Look on the flip side of this after we started to move down, though. See how neat these stairs were and mostly clean moving up on the way up? When we broke down, look how choppy this all gets, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, it's not even stairs. It's like someone flattened the escalator here. Right? This is the kind of stuff that I like to do with the charting. This is, just as much of trading as scanning is right here. Again, I see the numbers have ticked back up to 17 now, so I'm guessing, people rotating in and out. If there's questions, fire those away from me. I didn't cover Holly. Let me jump into Holly real quick. Again, everything in trade ideas, you want to start a new one, go to new. Come to AI Premium Strategy Trades window. All right. And in there, you're going to get this window here. And this is the strategy trades window. It comes with the filter for just looking at stocks that are winning right now to kind of take you out of the losers. You can get rid of that filter by unchecking it. I'm not a crazy fan of that, but, the idea of it is the relative strength, just like I do the relative strength here. And if a loser becomes a winner, it pops on here. So you're not only focusing on positive data is the idea behind it. But with Holly, I like to show everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Holly, like everything else, a right click, everything lives in here. There are many data columns. So if we right click, columns, all these mean something. I would suggest taking a look at the Holly guide to go over any of it. Holly has two main risk modes, what we call moderate and conservative. Please forget about aggressive. Aggressive means trading without a stop. If you want to trade without a stop, I would suggest go to the bank, withdraw all your money, and light it on fire. That's what trading without a stop is. Or just head to Vegas, or Reno, or Atlantic City, or Foxwoods, or Mississippi Riverboat, or whatever's convenient for you for gambling. That would be my suggestion, trading without a stop and aggressive. With that said, moderate risk means there's two ways that you get out of a trade with Holly. Either you get stopped out, or a close or a sell on close order at the end of the day. So it'd be like a 3:55 p.m. Eastern exit. Those are the only two things that would quote unquote exit the trade on Holly and moderate. Conservative has several different exits. Those will always be indicated. Let me pull up my Holly window. I like my Holly window better. Those will always be indicated by the exit reason is always conservative, and the exit time is always conservative. Okay? And the exit price will always be conservative because moderate means either stopped out or we sold at the close, essentially. So that's real clear what that is. Your exits for Holly are as follows in conservative mode. We have a timed exit in that as well, and we can see an exit time. Some strategies have an exit time, some have a profit target. We also have what we call profit save, which is essentially a trailing stop, meaning the trade wasn't working out and we're not going to let it turn into a loser. So we're going to exit it before that happens. We have a reduced risk, meaning that the trade isn't working out, all right, but we're not going to stick around for the stop. So the profit save is the trade was working, now it's reversing, but we're not going to let it go we're not letting it go negative. So we're going to get out before it goes negative. The reduced risk, the trade isn't working. Our stop is down here, but the trade just isn't working, and enough time has gone by that the algo says it's time to make an exit on this trade and reduce our risk and get out. And then, of course, a stop hit, and we have target hits. There wasn't a target today, so I don't have that as an example. There's chart assistance with Holly. So if we go right-click and go properties, you can see here I have show AI trades unchecked. Now I have it checked. If I go to properties, now you can see it's checked here. And if I click on any of Holly's trades, I get a nice shaded area where Holly was in on the trade. So for example, BULZ, we got in here. We exited here towards the end of the day on the last 15-minute candle. Let's look at something that didn't do that. So MOS, profit save. Now, if you notice the shaded area here is much darker here than over here. This indicates where the conservative exit happened. We've got our entry here. The buy, that buy is going to be our moderate buy, meaning the buy on the end of the day. And I'm guessing what happened here is the trade was working. And when we reversed this way, Holly exited somewhere here because she wasn't going to come back to the entry. Well, we could see her stop up here. Now, if you notice on my charts, I have this risk level up here, minus $199, right? That comes from how I have this set up on a hypothetical risk mode. That's also why if you look at my shares show what they do here. That hypothetical risk mode is controlled by going to Tools, Options, AI Trade Size. You have three options here. You can buy X amount of dollars worth of stock every time. You could take X amount of shares worth of stock every time, or you could share size based on Holly's stop loss, meaning she'll calculate the stop, or she'll calculate the shares based on her stop. So if I'm saying I want to risk $200 for every trade, the stop is here, and it's telling me how many shares I would have to take to only lose $200 if I get stopped out. Trading is risk managing. The first thing every trader should do before they get in a trade is say, if I'm wrong, where am I exiting this trade? That's the first thing before pressing buy or sell you should do every single time. If you get into a trade without a stop, you are messing up big time. So based on this, MOS, I would have taken 62 shares and getting stopped out would have happened here. So that's where 62 shares comes in, all right? These are the only three modes to put this in here. And all that is hypothetical in here to give you these numbers that I have here. And I could change that and go 100. And I press save. And notice how all my numbers in here just changed. And all my share sizes just changed, right? So very simple, very straightforward. Eddie, yes and no. We can scan for options volume. So you can find optionable stocks, but you'll have to look at the contracts in your broker. So what I could do here is I could say on top list and go new Actually, you know what? I have an options top list, as a matter of fact, that I love to use. I use it for my swing trading. Load from cloud. Strong options in 20-day range. I'm going to share that with you folks. Copy. Paste. There you go. I'm going to load this scan and I'm going to show you how I do this. So what I did, why aren't you giving me data? Oh boy. Okay, so there's a little bug that I got to fix here. All right, anyways, what I've done is I said, find me stocks between price X and Z, traded X amount of shares on the day, this relative volume, and 75% above the low of 20 days. So very similar to my evening scan. Then what I did is I said I want to sort them on options volume percent today. And I displayed that data here. And it's done as a percent. So as a 10-day average, FBP was doing 9 times, 900 is the number here, 900%. So it was doing 9 times its normal option average right now. WLK was doing 7 times essentially. RETA was doing 475 times what it's normally doing, and so on and so forth. Now, I just happen to sort this way, but you could scan based on options, and you could say, you know, with the different options filters we have, search options. No options chains. Nope, sorry. You can look at the options chains inside Interactive Brokers, but you'd have to, you have to use the broker for that. But you can find stocks with unusual option action. You can scan for put call ratio. You can scan for number of contracts. You could scan for number of contracts that are above an average trading number of contracts. Just put volume, just call volume, and again, the options volume today, which is what I was just illustrating before. These are all different viable options. Yeah, you're very welcome. Sorry, I touched into Holly a little bit. And again, there's some great stuff in the user's guide about Holly, a whole section for Holly just in the user's guide. All right, we're about an hour and a half into this. Does anybody have any burning questions at the moment for me here? I know there's an incredible amount to go over. Hopefully, if you can spend a couple of hours tomorrow and a couple of hours Sunday, you'll really start to get yourself lined up for Monday's Open. And I hope all of you are going to be in the live stream with me and Barry on Monday. You get me 2 different hours on Monday. Barry will be the balance of the day. That's not me. And if there are no other current questions, I'll begin to walk us out for the evening here as I'll take a short rest and get right back in this in less than 12 hours from now and do this again. And just go ahead and let me know. Great. Excellent. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate that. Thank you. I know I try not to be a scatterbrain on this stuff because I can go, 1,000 things. There's just so much here. I'll review this info and start working on skills use software. Have a nice weekend. Time tomorrow. I'll be here, Jorge, at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning Eastern time. And then I'll be here again at 10 o'clock Eastern Sunday morning. All right. So, 9 a.m. will be Monday morning. Barry will have this open at 9 a.m. And this will be open from 9 a.m. Monday morning till 4:30 Monday afternoon. Barry runs most of the day. I run 2 different hours on Monday. Every other day, I only run 1 hour from 3:30 to 4:30. But I will be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern, and I'll be here Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So, I see the numbers going up and down on viewers as we begin to wrap up. A replay of this will be posted shortly. Like I said, I don't know if it'll be 15 minutes or it'll be an hour, probably somewhere in between that time. Again, you can find that on our YouTube channel. Let me pull up our YouTube channel again. So here's our YouTube channel. That's the home. This is the home part of it. Copy, paste. All right. You'll find this here shortly. If you go to the videos, that's where you're going to want to find it. It'll be here at some point in the next hour or so. And again, I'll be here tomorrow morning. And again, please, everybody, don't forget the education page. All right. Tons of good stuff. Excellent. Thank you, Jorge. You have a great evening as well. Like I said, there's tons of stuff on the education page. I will be back here tomorrow morning. Looks like we'll wrap it up for now. I do appreciate you all taking the time to come and check this out with me here. So the last things again, SUPPORT at trade-ideas.com. All right. So support at trade-ideas.com. Email us there. Any questions, anytime. If anybody's here, you're not on the test drive already. You should be. Come on now. So let me share a test drive link just in case there's anybody here that's not on the test drive. Here's a test drive link. I'll leave that up there for a minute. So we got the education page. We put the YouTube page. We put the support email, and we just put the test drive link that's there. Again, that'll get you full access to the whole software till midnight on the 31st, midnight on Halloween. There will be some different sales that go on, probably a mid sale that'll be something kind of like extra sale for people who are just already sold and they want to jump right in on the software with the discount. And then there'll be an end of the test drive sale as well. It probably will not be quite as sweet as the mid sale. But that'll be for those that still need a little more convincing over the second week or so that we are putting this on for. I guess that's where I'll leave it for everybody. And again, I put that email, support at trade-ideas.com. If anybody has any questions or any other concerns, shoot us an email there. And myself and Stephanie usually work the emails over the weekends. Steve, Andy, Jamie, they may pop in as well. You never know when you're going to see an email from them too. So it's entirely possible, one of the different team members here could be answering you. Again, I thank you all very kindly for taking the time to do this with me tonight. I hope to see you all back here tomorrow and Sunday, but if not, I really hope to see you all back here on Monday. Don't go at it alone. Don't go at trading alone. Don't go at the software alone. All right. I really think we offer not only the most outstanding software out there, but we offer the most outstanding community out there as well. So thank you all kindly, and we will catch you tomorrow morning. Take care, folks. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye.